The date is April 23rd, 1990. The Frank Owen Center in Austin hums with a charged energy, a mix of excitement and anticipation. Thousands of fans sit on the edge of their seats, eyes glued to the ring where Saturday night's main event is unfolding. Somewhere on this card, hidden within the spectacle, a moment is about to occur that will crystallize in memory as a single, haunting image. It is a moment that will define the trajectory of a man who, just 5 years earlier, seemed destined for greatness. Tonight, that man's glory and tragedy intersect. Tonight, Hillbilly Jim is about to face a fate that will forever alter his story. Hillbilly Jim steps into the ring, his weathered face and overalls catching the bright arena lights, his familiar folk tune echoing through the arena. The crowd once erupted in joyous applause at this entrance, charmed by the Appalachian hillbilly who had captured hearts across America. But tonight, something is different. Tonight, he is not a featured hero, not the second most beloved babyface in the World Wrestling Federation. The man personally trained by Hulk Hogan, the chosen star who once seemed poised to carry the company into the next decade, is about to be crushed in a squash match by Earthquake. The brutality of the moment, the sheer mismatch, leaves the audience stunned as the sitting splash flattens him. His body is limp, his dreams suddenly imperiled, and he is carried away on a stretcher, leaving a lingering question in the minds of everyone watching. What happened? How did a man with such potential fall so far? To understand this fall, we must first understand the promise. In the mid-1980s, Vince McMahon was building an empire that would redefine professional wrestling. He had Hulk Hogan, the ultimate drawing card, the rock and wrestling connection, which bridged mainstream entertainment with wrestling, and icons like Andre the Giant, Jimmy Snuka, and Rowdy Roddy Piper. But Vince was constantly searching for the next big star, the babyface who could carry the company into the future. When James Morris, later known as Hillbilly Jim, walked into that world, Vince saw more than a man in bib overalls. He saw charisma, relatability, and a natural connection with the crowd. A man who could embody a character Middle America would rally behind. By early 1985, the Hillbilly Jim character was born. A simple-minded Appalachian from Mudlick, Kentucky, trained by Hulk Hogan himself. He was packaged with vignettes showing Hogan literally putting boots on his feet, a symbolic passing of the torch. The audience immediately embraced him. The reaction was authentic, not just performance. He wasn't a novelty act or a tag team filler. He was a rising star, a babyface positioned deliberately for a main event push. By February 18th, 1985, he won his first high-profile singles match, defeating Rene Goulet at the War to Settle the Score event. The rocket ship was ascending. Plans for merchandise, action figures, TV appearances, and eventual main event contention were likely being drawn up. For a brief moment, Hillbilly Jim's future looked unstoppable, but fate intervened. Just days after his career-defining win, at a show in San Diego, Jim was performing ringside, supporting Hulk Hogan during a match against Brutus Beefcake. In the chaos of the ringside action, a simple misstep on a wet spot caused his knee to buckle. The injury was significant. Months of recovery lay ahead, and with it, a sudden halt to his meteoric rise. Wrestling, as it turns out, is unforgiving. Momentum in this world is fragile, and an injury at the wrong moment can irreparably damage even the most promising careers. While Jim recovered, new stars emerged. The company's hierarchy evolved. Other babyfaces filled the vacuum he left behind, building their own momentum, narrative, and audience loyalty. And when Jim finally returned, the world he had once been poised to dominate had shifted beneath his feet. Jim's return to the ring was not the triumphant comeback fans had anticipated. During his absence, the creative team introduced a series of family characters, Uncle Elmer, Cousin Luke, and Cousin Junior, designed as comic relief to keep the Hillbilly Jim persona alive. What had been intended as a temporary placeholder transformed into a permanent fixture. The charming, high-potential babyface was now trapped in a cartoonish gimmick. Instead of main eventing against top stars, Jim found himself dancing to his theme music, pulling children from the crowd, and participating in light-hearted mid-card skirmishes. The company's faith in him as a serious contender had evaporated. This transition from legitimate babyface to comic relief was subtle but devastating. Every opportunity for meaningful feuds against top-tier talent disappeared. His early in-ring promise, the potential to be a star capable of carrying the company, was sidelined for entertainment value. House shows and minor television appearances became his norm. Tuxedo matches, novelty battles, and repetitive mid-card encounters replaced the push that had once seemed inevitable. The character, once a vessel for genuine connection with audiences, had become a prison, an endless loop of repetitive performances with no upward trajectory. The impact of this shift went beyond just creative frustration. Wrestling is as much a business as it is entertainment, and momentum is everything. When a performer is unavailable during a critical push, executives hedge their bets. Doubt creeps in. Is this man injury-prone? Can we rely on him long-term? While Jim's injury was a freak accident, the consequences were magnified by the industry's cautious nature. By the time he returned, the decision-makers had already shifted their focus, reallocating opportunities to other emerging talents. Hillbilly Jim's push never recovered, because in wrestling, timing is everything. The brief absence became permanent, the chance lost forever. This decline was compounded by the audience's changing expectations. Fans who had once chanted his name with fervor now saw him as a nostalgic curiosity rather than a future main eventer. He was still beloved, but his role was no longer aspirational. It was safe, predictable, and limited. Each match became a reminder of what might have been. The juxtaposition between his initial meteoric rise and his later mid-card status was stark, a cautionary tale of how quickly wrestling careers can shift. By 1990, Hillbilly Jim's trajectory had plateaued. He was still in the WWF, performing regularly, but the spark that once promised stardom had dimmed. And then came the match with Earthquake in April 1990. It wasn't a showdown designed to elevate him, it was a squash, a display meant to showcase the dominance of another wrestler. As the massive Earthquake executed his sitting splash, flattening Jim completely, it symbolized the culmination of years of lost momentum, missed opportunities, and executive hesitation. The crowd watched in stunned silence as the man who once seemed destined to carry the company's future lay helpless. The stretcher carried him away, a poignant visual representing the slow erosion of a career that had once burned so brightly. It was not the end of Hillbilly Jim, but it was the definitive end of the star he could have been. Hillbilly Jim's story is not unique, though it is exceptionally poignant. Professional wrestling history is littered with examples of performers whose potential was derailed by injury, timing, and business decisions. What happened to Jim was not malice. It was fear. Fear of investing in someone who might break. Fear of losing money and fear of momentum lost to circumstances beyond anyone's control. Vince McMahon, known for calculated risk-taking, made a business decision that likely saved the company money in the short term, but cost wrestling a potential star in the long term. The tragic beauty of Jim's story lies in its duality. The man who could have been a main event star remained beloved, yet relegated to a supporting, almost caricatured role. He performed diligently, giving fans smiles and nostalgia, but the narrative that once seemed destined for greatness had vanished. By 1991, Hillbilly Jim quietly exited the WWF, leaving behind a career marked as much by promise as by unfulfilled potential. Yet the lesson resonates for wrestling, and perhaps life itself. Timing, opportunity, and momentum are fragile. One slip, one accident, can change everything, no matter how talented or loved a person might be. For fans, historians, and wrestlers alike, Hillbilly Jim's career serves as a reminder of the delicate interplay between talent and circumstance. Wrestling is a world built on perception, risk, and faith. Faith in performers, faith in creative decisions, and faith in the audience's engagement. When any of these elements falter, even the brightest stars can fade into relative obscurity. But Jim's enduring popularity, decades later, testifies to his charisma and the genuine connection he forged with audiences, even if it never led to the main event glory he deserved. So, what can we truly take from this story? Was Hillbilly Jim's downfall inevitable, or could it have been avoided with different decisions, better timing, or sheer luck? Could one injury have permanently altered what seemed destined to be a legendary career? Or does this story reveal the inherently precarious nature of professional wrestling itself? The tragedy of Hillbilly Jim is not just about a man who fell. It is about a business built on moments, decisions, and the unpredictable consequences of chance. And the ultimate question remains: in a world where talent meets circumstance, how much of a star's fate is really in their own hands?